Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I received something in the mail. I don't know if you remember, I'll put a link to it right here, but I reviewed the AllPowers S300 version 2 a year and a half ago. And I just received the S300 version 2 Plus. So I'm going to do what probably any manufacturer hates, and I'm going to compare the Plus with the original. And this Plus also came with a 100-watt solar panel. So let's go ahead and check it out. All right, right on top is your user's manual and a small bag with, it looks like an AC outlet cord. And then here's the unit. Okay, first let's talk about the dimensions. I'll go ahead and put a screenshot of all of the technical specifications right here. So that way you can just pause it and look through it if you want. But you can see that the dimensions of these two are exactly the same. There's no difference in the size of the case whatsoever. On the front, you'll see immediately that on the old version, there were two AC receptacles and then just a couple of lights and some power buttons right here and a screen. On the new one, there's only one AC receptacle. Now, I think that's actually a smart idea because with this small of a unit, you don't need to plug in a lot of AC stuff. This isn't really made for AC appliances per se, even though it does have the option. It's really made for like the DC and being able to have it portable and being able to charge up via solar quickly. So on this one, you'll see that there's one AC receptacle. Again, there are the three buttons, but they are different than the old version right here. But we do have a power button, an AC button, and a DC button, and the DC button you hold down for 3 seconds to turn on Bluetooth. With this one, it was DC, AC, you just turned them on. And then there was a button right here to connect to Bluetooth, you had to turn that on as well. You'll also see on the new one that there's no lights on the front. The light is actually a bar on the back. And since they took off the lights, they did move the DC USB plugs to the front. So we have one USB-C port right here, which is 100 watts max. On this one, it was only 60 watts max. And then we have our standard USBs that are quick charge 18 watts, and that was the same on this one. The big difference is that on this one, you'll see that there were three standard USB ports, and this one there's only two. And also this one, you could, it was a power delivery port, so you could charge and discharge from the same port at 60 watts. And this one is only an output of 100 watts. And also the DC outputs, the barrel plugs, you won't find any barrel plugs on this one at all. On the top, they are both wireless chargers, so we'll be testing that out in just a bit. Now, if we turn them both to the right, you'll see that this one did have all the USBs and your barrel plug outputs. On this one, we have the AC charger instead. And this is a big change compared to this one. This one, you could only charge at 60 watts, regardless of whether you plugged it into your wall or if you wanted to charge it on solar. And if you wanted to charge it with this USB-C port, also 60 watts, you're looking at 60 watts max, so we're looking at 5 hours of charging time for this old unit. This one will charge up at 200 watts. So since this is a 288 watt hour unit, you're looking at charging this thing up in an hour and a half. So that is a big improvement. And I also like the plug. This is a standard like computer, plug. You can find these anywhere. They're simple, they're super common, no big deal. So I like that. On the back, you'll see that the old one has nothing, but this new one does have this light bar right here. And now on this side, here are your inputs. This was your barrel plug input for your AC and your Anderson connector. Now, I didn't use this one with solar very often because I just really don't like Anderson connectors. I don't think they're very common. I love what they did over here by changing it to the XT60. This is a lot more common when it comes to solar panels. It's a lot more, I feel like it's a lot more universal. And then you have your 12 volt, 10 amp cigarette lighter ports right here. All right, when it comes to the handle is exactly the same. It's really hard to get up and down. So yeah, like the handle hasn't changed one bit. Let's check out the screen. Let's see, just turn on DC. Screen, here's the screen on the old one. Turn on DC on this one. Oh, I gotta power it on. I'm not used to that. And as you can see, the screen on these are exactly the same. They show the percentage of charge. If you turn on the DC, I'm sure, yeah, it shows the DC outputs right here on the bottom. If you turn on AC, on the old one you turn on AC, it turns on a fan with a little symbol. On this one, oh, you just gotta short press it. Turns on a fan. And so you can see that the screens are exactly the same. So they haven't upgraded the screen at all. All right, when it came to the wireless part of this, I remember that the old version, it would not trigger my phone really at all. Like I think I had to put it in a very certain spot for it to start trigger. Like see, yeah, you can see that it's not even trying to charge. On the new one, you put your phone on and it looks like it lights up right away. Like I said before, the old one could only charge at 60 watts regardless of how you were charging it. With this one, we should be able to get 200 watts of charge. So let's go ahead and plug it in and see what it does. All right, starting to charge right at 200 watts. Charging at 200 watts compared to 60 when it comes to these really small power stations is a big deal to me. I didn't like the fact that this thing was so small that I could burn through the power in this fairly quickly, and then it would take 5 hours to charge. So now you can charge it back up in an hour and a half and be ready to go again practically in the same day. So I like that. And also the capacity of this is the same at 288 watt hours. All right, and instead of charging this up via AC, which it is charging at 200 watts, it says it'll take about 34 more minutes to get fully charged. Let's go ahead and take this solar panel outside and plug it into the new one and see what kind of juice we can get out of it. All right, well here is what the 100 watt panel looks like from the front, opened up. I'll go ahead and put the spec sheet on the side of the screen right here so you can see it. And if you look at the back, I have the S300 sitting back here. It does have a couple of leg stands right here. And the panel does come with XT60 to MC4 connections and MC4 to a 5521 barrel plug. And then it comes with 3 plug adapters, so you can choose, so it's as universal as possible. And then the panel itself comes with MC4 connectors, so that's nice. This is super universal when it comes to solar panels. But all we're going to do is we're going to plug in the MC4 connectors together. There's only one way you can do it. Sorry if you guys hear wind, it's super windy out here. That's nice because this panel is holding up just fine. And then I'm going to connect this XT60 connector. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to load up the app so that way you can see how much wattage we're getting from the panel. And it's pretty sunny out here even though there's a lot of leaves. Okay, now you see on the screen that there is the app for the AllPowers S300, and this says version 3, so that's like version 2 plus. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug it in and see what kind of power we get. And you have to remember, it is early November, so it's late fall, almost getting into winter. And it looks like we're getting 73, 74 watts. Oh, 75. It's still going up. Just for reference, it is right at 60 degrees out here, and it's a bit windy. And we're looking at 75 to 76 watts of input from a 100 watt panel. Portable panels, that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. But you're thinking, can this little guy handle a 200 watt panel even though it can only accept 100 watts? Because what if it's like kind of cloudy and you want to have as much power as possible? Let's go ahead and swap out this AllPowers 100 watt panel with a 200 watt panel and see kind of what happens. All right, well now I have the 200 watt AllPowers panel set up and I'm just about to plug it in. Now you may be thinking, oh, this AllPowers isn't made for a 200 watt panel. And no, it's not. It can only accept 100 watts. But it can accept 60 volts up to 8.5 amps. So this panel is well below 60 volts and it would limit itself to 8.5 amps. So let's go ahead and plug it in because it's going to be perfectly safe. And it shouldn't harm the unit at all. Let's plug in our connections. Since the 200 watt panel is MC4 connections as well. All right, let's plug it in, see what happens. Let's look at the app. And it is spiking out at 100 watts, which is exactly what it should do. Because even though this is a 200 watt panel, this is only going to accept up to 100 watts. So no matter what kind of panel you have, as long as it's under 60 volts, you can go ahead and connect it, and this thing will limit it to the max that it can handle, which is 100 watts. And on the screen, it says that it will be fully charged in 47 minutes. All right, well, I just got done with the AC and DC capacity tests for the S300 Plus by AllPowers. And here is the AC capacity test results. You can see that we got 225 watt hours out of the available 288 watt hours, and that is about 78% efficiency. When it comes to the DC side, we actually got 221 watt hours out of 288, which means that's like a 76% efficiency. I would have liked those to have been maybe right around 80 to 85%, but you know, it is what it is. So let's go ahead and test the AC on this to see how high we can actually get it. All right, what I have plugged into the S300 Plus is this Hasido smart charger, and it's 25 amps. I've got it set to 100%, so it should give us right around a 300 watt pull from this. And we're gonna see how long it can actually do it. We're gonna go ahead and just charge up this LiTime 100 amp hours self-heating battery. And we've also got it plugged into this watt meter right here, so we can kind of compare what the unit says to what the output of this says. All right, let's go ahead and connect it up. Charger is kicking on, and we are showing 130, 150, 170, 200, 240, 270, 290, 300. Yeah, I'm on the left, on the AllPowers, it shows 309, 308, and on the right, on the meter, it actually shows 320. And if we move over to the voltage is 118.2, so that's still really good voltage on this unit. All right, well, I've been running this charger this whole time. It's been running for, I'd probably say it's been running for about 8 minutes, and it's been running at 300 watts continuous. And it's still doing it with no problem. I am very happy about this. The AllPowers S300 is already down to 84%. That's how quickly we're pulling that juice. I'm gonna see what happens when I plug in my phone, and let's see if we can pull more out of it. My phone's plugged in. We're now pulling 330 watts. So just because it's a 300 watt AC inverter doesn't mean that's your limit. So we're actually pulling more than that. All right, another thing I want to know is, does this have pass-through charging? You know, can you charge it and use the AC at the same time? Well, I've already got it charging. It's charging at 200 watts. Actually, let's go ahead and just pull up the app right now. And you can see on the app that we're charging with 203 watts, and it's actually outputting 5 watts because I have this charger plugged in right now, and I think it's using 5 watts. So let's go ahead and just put this LiTime 20 amp charger on this LiTime battery and see what happens. And you can see on the app that we are inputting 100, it went down to 121, but we are outputting 273. So it's funny, the input actually went down, but it seems like it's kind of, I don't know, kind of regulating itself, because the output is 266 watts, but the input is now 138 watts. All right, I've got this little 200 watt heater plugged in, so let's go ahead and turn it on and see what happens on the app. All right, so it looks like it can almost input and output a total of 400 watts, because it looked like when the heater was kind of heating up, it jumped up to like 270, and the input went down to like 125 or something like that. So it's almost like it kind of went brrr and like leveled out. But now that the heater is warm, it dropped back down to like 192 output, and the input is now 196. So again, if you add those both up, you're getting roughly right around 400 watts. So that's interesting how the input and the output kind of fluctuate to kind of keep it around that 400 watt mark. But the result is that you can charge it and discharge it via AC at the same time. All right, well, I would say that I have put this AllPowers S300 Plus through the paces. And you know what? I think this thing has shown some improvement. I like the fact that it charges, 3 times as fast as the original unit. And it has the AC input that is a lot more standardized rather than that 5521 plug. I also like the fact that when it comes to the DC input, they're using XT60 connectors instead of those Anderson connectors. I think XT60 is a lot more common. Also, the wireless charger on top seems to be more activated, I guess you could say. Maybe the radio inside is stronger, so it can connect to your wireless charging phones a lot better, I think. I noticed that it only has one AC output, and I think that's fine for this size of a unit. I wish that they did have another USB-C port. That would be awesome, I think. The same display, and it can power 300 watts through the AC without any problem. I ran that thing for 10 to 15 minutes, and it didn't have any issues whatsoever. I do notice that when you plug in the AC to charge it, the fan turns on, never turns off, even though it's fully charged. And if you turn on the AC, the fan turns on, never turns off, even if you don't have anything plugged into it. Also, the efficiency seems to be a little less than what I had hoped. 76, 78%. I wish to see 80 at least, 84 would be great. But all in all, not a bad little unit. And if you pair it with the 100 watt AllPowers solar panel, on those sunny days, it will give you plenty of power. So if you have any questions about the AllPowers S300 Plus or the AllPowers 100 watt solar panel, please go ahead and leave them in the comments. I'll have a link to these items in my description, just in case you want to look further into it. I also have an Amazon store now, so I'll have these items there and everything I use to test these items there as well. So thank you so much for watching this video, and have a great day. Bye-bye.